Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year for another quick battle ladder replay today on the MP Peak Pass map. It is Nevermore. This is a fan submission from Nevermore, who is playing the Norscans up against Sir Metis and the Empire. And I've been told that this is a ding-dong battle that goes right down to the wire, so we will check the armies. So first of all, for Nevermore and his Norscans, we've got 3 units of Marauders in the front row, 2 units of Marauder Berserkers, backed up by some Familiar Warriors, one of which is the Miststalkers that have obviously their armor sundering and the Stalk mechanic. Pretty powerful unit in the right matchup. Shaman Sorcerer of Death with just Spirit Leech, and then we have Wulfric up on the Mammoth, who looks like he's just taken Hunter of Champions. Hasn't taken the Sword of Torgvald or anything. We also have some Norscan Ice Wolves in the rear. Coming over here, though, we also have 2 units of Marauder Horsemen with Throwing Axes Vanguard deployed, and in a very sneaky Vanguard deployment, we have the Maws of Savagery, who are a crucial part of this replay, from what I am told. So obviously they are the Armored Skin Wolf variant, good anti-large, good armor piercing, pretty nasty unit, and play a big part in this battle from what I have been told. For Sir Metis' Empire, Spearmen and Flagellant frontline, so a bit of a combined arms force. So yeah, obviously the Flagellants are designed to obviously hold no matter what, as they're unbreakable. Interesting not to see something like the Sons of Sigmar or something like that as well, but basically, as in most matchups with the Empire, they're not really investing too heavily in their infantry frontline. What we do have, though, is 3 units of the regular war wagons, so 3 360-degree firing arcs, good armor piercing, decent-ish range, but good maneuverability as well on those sort of mobile artillery pieces. We have Knights of the Blazing Sun and Empire Knights here to protect the flanks and be sort of sweepers. We have the Hammer of the Witches with the magical ammunition, and we have some Outriders with grenade launchers. These are a really good unit against any basically faction that has superior infantry, because they just do a number on tightly clustered infantry units. We also have a double Wizard Corps here, so we have Shem's Burning Gaze and Net, as well as the Blasting Scroll and a Scroll of Power on the Light Wizard here, and then we have a Grey Wizard here with another Blasting Scroll, Power Stone, and Penumbral Pendulum. So some battlefield control there with the Net, but also some fair amount of damage output with the Blasting Scrolls. And then we have good old Graf Todbringer with both of his items, and obviously all his debuffs. You all know I'm a big fan of Boris, so we'll give it a bit of a quick play at the start, because there is some sort of there is a fair bit of ground to cover, and obviously with the Empire having some artillery, there is going to be sort of no rush from them to get forward. They're going to do a lot of obviously softening up with their war wagons. The Hammer of the Witches, I dare say, will try to focus on either the Fimir or Wulfric, but we can sort of see just getting these in position, using the Marauder with throwing axes to put some damage and just sort of screen out the war wagons. We'll put it on a regular play now. Needs to be doing a bit more work here with the Outriders, actually. There's plenty of good targets, and with obviously the Empire Knights here, could even be bringing the Knights of the Blazing Sun to screen out the Marauders and even the Ice Wolves. A couple of shots into these Marauder Berserkers would really soften them up. Even Marauders. Marauders going to beat Spearmen. For the price, Marauders, actually, Norscan Marauders, that is, trade okay with Flagellants from a cost-to-cost perspective. So, yeah, it needs to be probably a little bit more proactive here, but obviously the Hammer of the Witches is cracking in some shots. Don't know if Wulfric's taken any just yet. Looks like he might be focusing on the Fimir. Yes, he is. Yeah, and that's a good option. Good option too, taking out the Miststalkers. The Miststalkers, however, maybe not the best target because of their missile resistance. So, probably better targets here. Nice Seafang going down here to soften up the Flagellants. That's a lot of damage. Hasn't dropped a ton of models, but a lot of HP damage. They're down to about half HP now. And some good fire, I guess, just screening out Wulfric here by the war wagons. Obviously has an enormous HP pool, so no catastrophic damage done there, but it all helps. And as we see here, the Maws of Savagery laying in wait. Probably wait till the till the cavalry is committed, so they can get a free pick on the Hammer of Witches and then start, recharging and doing that kind of thing. They obviously have great speed with 65 speed, so they can outpace most things on this roster, aside from maybe the cavalry. But the Knights of the Blazing Sun are just going to screen out here, have decent armor and a shield bonus, but obviously the throwing axes are armor piercing, and this is some nice volleys like we see here. Probably could have done this a little bit earlier and got a few softening up volleys into the berserkers here, but obviously some great volleys going down on the infantry, which is an area that the Norskins are definitely superior in. A big pendulum going down there, doing some massive damage on those marauder berserkers, and you see here that Grey Wizard's up to 54 kills with that cast. Wulfric, however, has pushed through, and this is where the war wagons really need to do their work. While there's nothing here screening everything out, these spearmen need to be brought over here just to give a bit of a speed bump for things like the grenade launchers to get in behind. Being probably a little bit sloppy with the fast movers over here, but the war wagons are really singing in. They're not really too impeded at the moment. Hammer of the Witches has obviously been terrified, which is a pretty decent pickup. I don't know how much damage that's done. 9 kills. I think they were firing at the Miststalkers, so maybe they've got some decent damage in there. But with Karl committing, trying to snipe this Death Shaman, the Ice Wolves now have been brought into the fray, and this is a good move too. Don't let Karl get back up into the sky here, and this is a mistake here by Nevermore. I don't know what they're coming over here to do. The Miststalkers need to get onto... Yeah, that was a missed opportunity. The Miststalkers needed to switch over here onto Boris, and the Norscan Ice Wolves need to get back on the Light Wizard. I dare say there's still a fair bit of Winds of Magic left for the for the Empire, but you see here, the Maws of Savagery have absolutely annihilated this unit of Knights of the Blazing Sun. You wouldn't think on face value that that's a great engagement for the Maws of Savagery, given their obviously their flaming attacks and the regeneration of the Maws of Savagery, but obviously didn't get their charge bonus off, and obviously just the anti-large and armor piercing on these guys has just absolutely wrecked them, and they're done. They're off the battlefield. So once again, the Norscan Ice Wolves are gonna play a bit of a dual role with the Maws of Savagery, buffing or debuffing the speed of the war wagons. They're probably not actually even going to be needed here. Actually, these war wagons are probably done for. They're going to get chased off. They've been terror routed. They'll probably naturally break in a sec because of all the pressure, and the Ice Wolves now can escort them off. That's a big pickup. But there are still a couple of blasting scrolls going down. However, there are still 2 full health units of war wagons. They're starting to expend their ammunition though, but the Fimir Warriors, obviously with their missile resistance, are going to be able to tank a lot of those shots. But the infantry fight has pretty much ground to a halt here. The Empire actually have 2 full units of spears left, so the Empire have done really well to clear off those berserkers, clear off even just the regular marauders, and not allow their own infantry to be completely overwhelmed. Obviously, the anti-large here is relevant against the Miststalkers, but given their armor, they're not going to take a ton of damage. But this little core here, Ice Wolves, Maws of Savagery, Wulfric, is a real sort of little mini Death Star. And despite the fact that a lot of the other stuff on the Norscan roster here is actually routed and pretty tattered, with basically no ammo left on these war wagons, no real dedicated anti-large. I guess the grenade launchers can do a little bit of damage, but the Maws of Savagery and Wulfric aren't going to be too concerned about that, given their larger units. There's not a lot that can actually reliably take on what the Norskins have left, and the little mini blob here, I guess there's some... Well, I don't know what this Grey Wizard's doing. He's popping his Power Stone, but he's chasing off the Marauder Horsemasters. I suppose it's not a bad trade. He probably doesn't have a ton of damage left, and there's not a lot of good pendulum targets anyway. But like I said, what's left for the Norskins here, whilst it's minimal, is going to be very hard to deal with. I think, Boris is coming back in here, but Boris needs to be careful too. There's a lot of anti-large here, and obviously, even though it's not a dedicated anti-large, Wulfric on the Mammoth is just an absolute powerhouse. The Light Wizard, again, we don't know if there's got a net, but this is good. Pick them off. Try and sort of deal with things one by one, and if you can get this group of Miststalkers down, just take the picks where you can get them. Or not the Miststalkers, sorry, here are the Miststalkers. There's only 2 of them left. But 5 Familiar Warriors here are now isolated. And you think Boris might be able to jump down and maybe terror out them, and then the wizard can sort of escort them off. But yeah, these war wagons now are out of ammo, and if there was a lot of infantry left for the Norskins, you'd say, well, their dual use as chariots is going to be, is going to be significant. But there's nothing here that's really worried about chariots. I mean, the Maws of Savagery, I mean, they haven't even hit their healing cap yet, so they're still going strong. The Ice Wolves here are just going to be able to slow anything down, so nothing that really engages here is going to be able to retreat from this fight. And at the moment, it looks like they've just been committed, maybe just to buy time for the Empire just to form up again. Like I said, this is good by the Empire. Ooh, Burning Gaze coming in there, doing a little bit of damage on Wulfric, but this is good by the Empire. So they split those 2 units of Famir off, they took them down piecemeal, and they've just got to keep. That's probably the only hope the Empire have at this point. Oh, I say that, and these Marauder Horsemen return from the forest, and they've still got a reasonable amount of ammo here. I'd probably be saving. I'd be saving that ammo for Boris. I don't think there's anything else here that really demands the armor piercing from the throwing axes. And yeah, as you see here, I mean, even though they're anti-large, the Maws of Savagery aren't going to be too worried taking this engagement. Spearmen aren't big damage dealers. They might have an anti-large bonus, so they might be landing a few attacks, but 70 armor is reasonable. And obviously, given they're still going strong on unit models, 15 out of 18, and still have a lot of their healing cap left, I don't see the Spearmen being a super large threat here to the Norscan forces. So I guess the war wagons here screening out, but now it's just coming down. As we said before, there's just nothing to stop this sort of death ball that the Norscans have got left. The Marauder Horsemen, will absolutely beat Outrider grenade launchers in combat now that they've expended their ammo, and now that these are broken, they're not going to be coming back. These guys are just going to escort them off the field, and really the only thing left for the Empire here is maybe if Boris can get lucky and snipe out Wulfric. This is their opportunity. Okay, good play here by Nevermore. He notices that he's getting a little bit split up, and he's bringing the Maws of Savagery back. He's also, I suppose that could be a mistake if they come back in, but I think he's realizing this is his opportunity to basically end the game. Yeah, recharge going down here on the Spearmen. That's good. They'll break and possibly shatter, given how much damage they've taken. The Light Wizard here, I'm not sure has any Winds of Magic left and has now shattered. And yeah, Boris is facing an uphill battle here to carry this from where he is at the moment. Again, the war wagons here are chasing some Marauder Horsemen. Not sure if either of those units are going to be too impactful and too relevant. If this was Karl with Galmaraz and the Runefang, you'd think maybe there's a chance, given he's pretty good at taking out large targets. But there's still 3,000 points left on Wulfric. You look at the health bars here, and it looks, Boris is way healthier, but Wulfric actually has more HP at this point than Boris does, and he's also hit his healing cap. The Maws of Savagery are 13 models, and look at this, 97 kills. And yeah, I just don't think there's much hope left for the Empire at this stage. Pulling back up to the sky to maybe get a rear attack in on Boris is the right play, but there's nothing left that can really go toe to toe with the Maws of Savagery, given how healthy they are. And you look, they're still healing. They haven't their healing cap hasn't even appeared on their health bar yet. Wulfric is wavering, so this is a nice play. This could be a potential game changer for the Empire. If Wulfric routs here or goes down, there's a chance Boris might be able to put this on his back. But now just the mass, Hunter of Champions going down to debuff his speed. That's a good play, actually. That's a good little defensive use of Hunter of Champions in order to not let him get away. And now the Maws of Savagery are going to close. The Marauder Horsemen are just going to basically be used as a meat shield and use their mass. I don't know if these Spearmen are even going to make it back into the fight. They're probably going to terror out also when they come in close contact to Wulfric. Man, these grenade launchers, though, there they go. I was going to say they're not going away, but they have turned Talon Run now. And yeah, as we said, these guys are probably not long for the fight. We've had this unit of war wagons probably chasing off a unit of Horse Masters, although they're both here, so maybe they've just been forgotten about. And I think at this point we can put it on a fast play just to see sort of how this ends. Wulfric does break, but yeah, Maws of Savagery, too healthy. Boris is hanging on through thick and thin here, but yeah, he'll shatter, and that'll be all she wrote for the Empire forces. So a hard carry from these Maws of Savagery. They've done a power of work in this. I'm pretty sure they accounted for that Knights of the Blazing Sun more or less by themselves, which is surprising because you think that's one unit in this roster, obviously outside of the cannon from range, that would actually have a pretty decent engagement against Maws of Savagery. Obviously, they have decent armor, and they're obviously good damage dealers themselves, so it's going to be an atrocious fight. But, you know, with a great charge bonus and flaming attacks, you would have thought the Knights of the Blazing Sun could get a reasonably good engagement there. But they obviously didn't get that charge bonus because they were absolutely monstered by the Maws of Savagery. A couple of good plays with the Ice Wolves. Probably in the early game there was a bit of a misplay. Might have missed an opportunity to actually finish off that Light Wizard, but I don't know if it really was too big of a mistake. I don't think he really got punished by that. I don't know if there was all that much Winds of Magic left for him. Didn't see any nets go down personally, but the Shaman Sorcerer of Death was picked off quite early by Boris Todbringer. Some good plays on account of both players here. Wulfric pushed through the front line, and given that the mass of both units of cavalry were dealt with elsewhere by, I think, the Fimir and obviously the Maws of Savagery, Wulfric shut the Hammer of the Witches down before it got too many decent volleys off. The Fimir warriors got worked down a little bit. I'm not sure what happened to these Fimir. I think they actually might have just got ganged up on by the war wagons, but the Miststalkers did a little bit of work. But yeah, it's cool seeing Fimir warriors in. I think Fimir warriors are a very, very solid unit, but you sort of don't always see them mixed in. I guess with the power of Skin Wolves for the Norskans, they tend to get picked ahead of Fimir. But a pretty strong showing here from the Maws of Savagery. And like I said, some good plays from both players here. Probably just came down to in the end that Nevermore was able to keep a number of units that didn't really have stiff opposition on Sir Metis's roster alive, and was able to just carry the day. So thanks for sending that in, Nevermore. It was a really, really good game, and you weren't wrong at all. The Maws of Savagery were the absolute MVPs of that battle. So thanks again for checking out another video. We'll be back with more soon, and until then, take care.